Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Wanted to let you know these are coming out, as I mentioned before, every single other day. So every single other day at the exact same time is when I release all these videos. So do keep that in mind and make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss out. We are in the middle of a YouTube partner push, so make sure that you are subscribed. That's going to help out so much to get to that point that we want to be at, so we can start monetizing some of this. You know, I'm not in it to monetize it, but it is a nice bonus and a nice incentive to continue to be consistent, because I've been consistent now with this channel, I think almost 3 months in a row, which I think is the longest I've ever done. So I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. We're talking about the most underrated ground types in all of Pokemon, and we're going to start here with Generation 1. And if it was me, I would actually pick Golem. The problem with Golem that doesn't make him good is the typing. Water and grass being ×4, with that being a very common typing in the Kanto region, hurts. It hurts really bad. And because of that, Golem defensively is terrible. But this is one of the only rock types in the game that gets used to so many incredibly strong moves. And that's why I side with Golem, and I think that Golem is much better than a lot of people consider him to be. Now for Gen 2 here, I'm going to go with Steelix. Taking Onix, which is one of the worst Pokemon in the world, despite the fact that it looks so cool, and making it useful. When everybody saw Brock's Onix in the Pokemon show, we're like, oh, this is so cool. I can't wait to use this. And then if you're me, who didn't play Pokemon Red and Blue when I was a kid, but I did play Fire Red and Leaf Green, when I fought against Brock in the game, and he threw out his Onix, and I'm thinking, you know, 7, 8 years old whenever Fire Red came out. I'd have to find out exactly what year. And you know what? We're going to go on a tangent and find out right now. How old was I when Fire Red came out? How old was I? How old was I? Do you think the internet knows how old I am? When did Fire Red come out? Pokemon Fire Red came out in 2004. I was 6 years old. Okay? I was 6 years old when Pokemon Fire Red came out. And I saw Brock's Onix, and I'm like, this has got to be intimidating, just like it is in the show. It'll kill me, right? Right? No. No. I one-shot it. But then Steelix is cool. They take away one of the types that makes Onix super weak to grass and water, and they make it Steel. It looks cooler. It has better moves. It can do a lot more for you. Underrated. Gen 3 most underrated is my boy Whiscash. If you don't start with Mudkip in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, you need a Whiscash. It's a Pokemon that a lot of people forget about because it is in an area of the game that requires fishing, where you probably have 6 Pokemon by the time you get there, which is the place after Fall Arbor Town. You get there and you fish there, and then you can find yourself a Barboach, which evolves into Whiscash. It's water ground, and it gets the exact same moves as Marshtomp does. It's excellent. This guy can do so many great things for you. And honestly, again, as I mentioned, if you don't have a water type on your team, this is what you want. The type coverage you get from this guy is so excellent, and you know when a grass type move is coming at you, so you can just switch. Easy. Easy. For Gen 4, I want to pick Gastrodon for a similar reason. I'm not going to, though, because I think instead, we're going to talk about Hippowdon. Hippowdon is so slow, but he packs a massive punch with the right abilities, and he gets every single strong ground move that you can think of. Unfortunately, Sinnoh doesn't have a lot of strong ground types, so this is probably kind of your best middle-of-the-road option. Ideally, you start with a Torterra, and that's kind of what you go with. You wouldn't catch a Gible until very much later in the game, so I think this is the right choice. Generation 5, though, I don't want to pick Seismitoad for, again, the same reason. But I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to pick Golurk. Ghost Ground. I want you to name another Ghost Ground type. I want you to go in the comments down below and name another Ghost Ground type. Do you know why there's no comments on this video right now? It's because you can't. You can't name a Ghost Ground type. You can't do it. You can try. You can't. You just can't. The unique typing that gives it normal immunity and fighting immunity on top of the extra strength that it gives you with that extra offensive typing and Ghost as well is huge. And the moves that this thing gets access to because of it are even better. So I basically pick Diggersby, I pick Zygarde, or I pick a Mega Pokemon. I think I'm just going to pick a Mega Pokemon. I know they didn't count, but I don't really have an option because I know for sure that Diggersby I put in either my best or my worst, and then the other one my best and my worst. So I don't really have a choice here. But Camerupt Mega is probably one of the worst Mega Pokemon ever made, but it looks cool. So I'm just going to put it in there because it looks cool. And you know what? It's my list. Let me know what your list would be in the comments below. Generation 7. Alolan Dugtrio is Dugtrio with, wait for it, Wigs on. Yes, when I saw this thing, I thought I have to have this. Okay, that's done with the tangent now. What's the actual answer? Well, it's Palossand. Ghost, it's literally Ghost and Ground. This thing is literally Ghost and Ground. I just disproved what I said. Oh my gosh. At least I corrected myself before I got a comment, right? At least I corrected myself before I got a comment. This thing is literally Ghost Ground. But Golurk was the first one, okay? Golurk was the first one, okay? So I have that much going for me. But yeah, Ghost and Ground, same reason I talked about Golurk. This thing's a little bit faster and it has a really good ability. I believe it's immune to water, which is really cool because it's sand, and sand just absorbs water. So I think that's super, super helpful as well. Generation 8, though. Give me Ursaluna. I like the Blood Moon form of Ursaluna better, but I still think the base form is super strong. This was an evolution that nobody asked for, but everybody loved. I mean, that's exactly what you can explain, you know? Like, Ursaring was a decent Pokemon. I mean, it wasn't as good as others that you could compare it to, but it was pretty good. I mean, to see Teddy Ursa go up to Ursaring was something nobody expected. And it was pretty strong. And then they're like, you know what? Why don't we give it another one? Nobody asked for it, but we all were pretty happy about the design and what it was as a Pokemon. It was super strong. Gen 9, though? Give me Great Tusk. I think Great Tusk, because of its typing, is really what I like. I believe it's part fighting, which you just don't expect with a Pokemon that looks this way, and it's very unique with the typing on top of the moveset that it can get. That's really all I could tell you about Great Tusk. All these Paradox Pokemon, in my personal opinion, are very forgettable because there's just so many of them and they're generic names instead of actual Pokemon names, which is exactly where they screwed up. But I've gone on so many rants and tangents about Generation 9 and how I've enjoyed the game, but there's a lot of things I would change. So it is what it is. We've had this conversation plenty of times. But what is the most underrated ground type? It's a Whiscash. I just think the moveset that you get on top of the fact that his typing has one weakness does so many great things for you. And you really, just because of how obscure this Pokemon is in just about every game he's in, a lot of people don't use him. Like, I can tell you where this thing is in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. It is in the route before Mount Moon when you enter from the north side, not the south side. You enter from the Fall Arbor Town side. It is that Mount Moon that you can fish in that route and catch it. If you ask me where this was in any other Pokemon game, couldn't tell you. I think they just hide it and they make it obscure because it is a fishing Pokemon and they make it fishing only. That's part of the problem. But beyond that, great Pokemon. So that would be my list. Comment down below. Let me know what your list is. Make sure you're subscribed. Going for Partner Push. Pushing for 1,000. If we don't have it by the time this video is out, hopefully we will have it soon. So make sure you're subscribed. Thank you guys very much. And I will see you for some flying types next.